NFL season is right around the corner, so you know what that means. It's time to do a little preview and prediction, and we are starting with divisions, all right? And of course, you got to start with the NFC North. So what is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL, and I'm going to be breaking down the NFC North for you guys, give you a little preview of the NFC North, see how it shakes out, and then finally give a prediction at the end of the order of the division. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right, so how this is going to go is I'm going to go ahead and preview every team and talk about how their offseason went. Did they improve? Did they not? Did they stay the same? And then break down and rank the teams at the end, sort of who wins the division, who finishes second, third, and fourth. Okay, so with that being said, let's start with the Packers, who had a fantastic season last year. The Packers, number one seed, great season. Aaron Rodgers, back-to-back MVP, and all for nothing because they wasted all in the playoffs against the 49ers, who beat them. And a loss that nobody, especially Packers fans, expected the Packers flame out again. That hurt because, again, you're talking about a wasted season because of Aaron Rodgers being the MVP, so you wasted that, and also being, record-wise the best team in football, that went to waste. And the 49ers didn't even win the championship. It's not even like you lost to the Super Bowl winner. So that one hurt. So how did their offseason go? It didn't go that well, folks. They got worse. They lost their best receiver, Davante Adams. That is a huge hole to fill. Now, I get it. They got draft compensation for it. But they did not address the loss of Davante Adams in the immediate need. Okay, and whether or not you want to talk about if it was the right move or not, that's another conversation for another day. The point is the Packers got worse. They lost Davante, and they also lost MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, to the Chiefs. So we're talking about a wide receiver room that consists of guys like Allen Lazard and Randall Cobb. That's not going to get it done. Now, they did draft Christian Watson, so that pick I did like in this year's draft, but to depend on him to be your number one receiver, that's asking a lot out of him. All right? They also signed Sami Watkins, which I wasn't a big fan of. He's never able to stay healthy. So to me, you just never addressed getting a number one receiver. And so this receiver room, it's pretty weak, people. It's pretty weak, okay? As far as kind of the other additions, they added Devondre Campbell. They re-signed him, I should say, Rasul Douglas. They re-signed him. I mentioned Sami Watkins, Jarron Reed. Quay Walker, they got in the draft as well, so defense should get a little bit better, the linebacker. And then as far as the losses, I mentioned obviously Devontae, Zadarius Smith went over to the Vikings. They did let go of Billy Turner, MVS to the Chiefs, and then Lucas Patrick went to the Bears. So overall, the Packers got worse. Does that mean they're not the best team in the division? No, but I believe the door has opened now where it's not a lock. They're not impenetrable. They have some vulnerabilities, and I believe there is a chance we could see somebody else win this division this year, because I'm just saying, I don't know how Aaron Rodgers will be without Davante Adams as number one guy. He might not be, I'm not saying he's not going to be great, but he might not be MVP great. And, that's going to be impactful because you're talking about a guy that's won the MVP back-to-back years. So if you get a solid season out of Aaron Rodgers, nothing great, that might not be enough because, again, you didn't do enough to improve this offseason. All right, let's move on to the Minnesota Vikings, who last year finished at 8-9. And as far as the offseason, let's talk about some of the key additions. Again, I talked about Zadarius Smith coming over from the Packers. They also added Jordan Hicks, Harrison Phillips, Lewis Cine in the draft, and Andrew Booth in the draft. So shore up that secondary. Patrick Peterson, they did re-sign him. And then as far as some key losses, they lost Michael Pierce. Or they did release him, I should say. Tyler Conklin, I believe he went to the Jets. Anthony Barr, Xavier Woods, Everson Griffin, and then Sheldon Richardson. So here's the thing with the Vikings, people, okay? Offseason so-so, all right? But the major difference in this offseason was new coaching staff and new front office. And that is going to be the difference for the Vikings this year. I'm actually a little bit higher on the Vikings than most people because I believe the talent on this roster is there, but the previous regime with Mike Zimmer and company, where they were not able to pull it out of them. Okay, so now I'm not saying the new coaching staff is going to make the Vikings just this world beaters, but when we're talking about Kirk Cousins, who's rock solid, go look at the numbers. People hate on him, but he is rock solid. I'm not saying he's elite. I'm not saying he's, a top 5, 10 quarterback. Just saying he's a solid quarterback. All right. You got him. Justin Jefferson could be the best receiver in football this year. He's upwards projected on that trajectory. Adam Thielen's a red zone machine. They get Irv Smith Jr. back. He is an athletic freak at the tight end spot, okay? And so the defense could also improve. And again, the coach being an offensive-minded coach, that is going to make a difference here. So to me, and then obviously I didn't even mention Dalvin Cook, a top 5 running back in football. This team is loaded with talent, and there is a world I can see in which they win the division, right? Now, you might be saying, Faiz, the roster is more or less the same, so what's the difference? They went 8-9 last year. Well, the coaching staff and the front office, because that makes a difference. So to me, they have the 16th easiest schedule in football, so that could probably help, but the talent level might be the best in the division, just overall. All right, just overall. All right, so with that being said, let's move on to the Chicago Bears. And as far as the Bears in the offseason, similar to the Vikings, they went through a front office change and a coaching change, right? They obviously added head coach Matt Eberflus. They added Ryan Poles as their new general manager. And so when we're taking a look at the Bears, here's the thing. You have Justin Fields and you have this new regime making an imprint on their direction. And that is basically saying, we're going to go ahead and have a throwaway year. This is a rebuilding year for the Bears. So to me, they did lose talent. They got worse because, right, you traded with Khalil Mack. You lose Allen Robinson. You lose Akeem Hicks. Like, there was a number of losses this year. And for the most part, they were just adding up, solid, veterans kind of on the cheap, right? So, again, let's take a look at their key additions here. They added Justin Jones from the Chargers, Lucas Patrick from the Bears, Byron Pringle from the Chiefs, Nicholas Mora, Al-Qadim Muhammad, Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon, really like that in the draft. They're shore up their secondary. Velus Jones Jr., hopefully for that wide receiver 3 spot. But again, the losses here. Let's take a look at all of them. Khalil Mack, Allen Robinson, Akeem Hicks, James Daniels, Jason Peters, Eddie Goldman, Bilal Nichols, Danny Trevathan, Alec Ogletree, Tayshaun Gibson, Nick Foles and Andy Dalton. Doesn't really matter there. But point is, they lost a lot of talent, people. And so the Bears basically made their direction, which is we are going to rebuild this year. So I don't expect them to be very good. I don't expect the Bears to be a playoff team this year. They could be one of the worst in the NFL just because of the lack of talent, right? The receivers, we've heard it over and over again. But here's the thing. I don't mind that for the Bears because I would rather them bottom out and then load up than go ahead and stay in this mediocrity. Now, there is another school of thought here that says you have Justin Fields on a rookie contract. You go ahead and you surround this man with talent or else you're sabotaging him. I totally get that. I probably would have done the same. This was probably the time to add the talent, but they went ahead in this direction. And I'm not saying I like it, but I don't hate it. At least they are making a mark. They're not staying in the middle and just going in quicksand. They're staying in a direction and they're going towards that. So I don't expect the Bears to be very good, but all that matters to them this year is the development of Justin Fields. All right. Finally, let's talk about the Detroit Lions, who weren't great record-wise, but culture-wise, this team showed you that they are building towards something that is headed in the right direction. All right. With their head coach, who they love, this team looks to be a team that just plays hard, and there were a lot of close games last year. So who did they add? They added Aiden Hutchinson in the draft. Fantastic selection, okay? Jameson Williams, I like him as well. DJ Chark, they got him on the cheap. Love that one. Deshaun Elliott, Mike Hughes, Chris Board. So this team had a very, very good offseason. Very good offseason. As far as their losses, Trey Flowers, Kadarius Hodge, Jalen Reeves, I think they had arguably the best offseason out of any team in the NFC North. Was that going to be enough for them to be a playoff team? No. I still think they're are divided of talent, but we're talking about the 5th easiest schedule in football. You could see the Lions kind of head upward. Maybe, maybe that they're a wild card team. Who knows? I'm not going to go ahead and say that, but they are headed in the right direction. All right. That's what I can say about the Detroit Lions. And it is a good culture there that they are building. They still have Jared Goff at quarterback, which is a problem, but Amon-Ra St. Brown looks good. I like DJ Chark. Aiden Hutchinson could be a stud. You got TJ Hawkinson. So you can kind of see the pieces coming along in Detroit. All right, people. So it is prediction time. So here's how I see the division playing out. Okay, at the top, I'm still going to go with the Green Bay Packers to win this division, but hear me out. I'm going to go ahead and say they finish with a record of 10-7. Okay, I believe the Packers got worse, like I mentioned to you, and I believe other teams in the division are going to be able to take advantage of that. You see the Packers may lose games that they normally would have won. I just feel like the talent level drop off that has occurred from them losing Devontae Adams, that is going to be huge. So I see the Packers being a 10-win team, not a 13-win team like they've been, okay? Then after that, I've got the Minnesota Vikings at number 2, very close to the Packers. I have them finishing with a record of 9-8, all right? So right there with the Packers, right? One game behind. Again, they were 8-9 last year. I flipped it because this coaching staff, I think, will lead them in the right direction. They're a potential playoff team. So I'm going to go ahead and say 9-8 for the Vikings. That will be the big difference. And then as far as 3 and 4, I kind of gave the Bears and Lions the same record, 6-11. Both teams aren't very good roster-wise. So that's why they're obviously not going to have a lot of wins. But, they're right around the same thing. Now, I like the upside of Justin Fields for the Bears, so that's why I have them where I have them. As far as the Lions, I like the culture better, and I like the talent that they have more than the Bears. So it kind of evens out for me. That's why I've got them both at 6-11. If you want to argue Lions are better or will finish better, not going to argue with you there. Same thing with the Bears. Ultimately, they're around the same. All right, so that's where I have it. Both teams going to miss the playoffs. So to me, Packers, Vikings, Bears, Lions, or Lions, Bears, however you want to shake it out. So let me know what you guys think about that. Leave a comment down below. As always, thanks for watching.